and welcome, folks. This is Chris, the Bardic DM, bringing you episode 14 of Seekers of Legend, Forging the New Gods. So, how is everybody? How's your week gone?
Good.
Awesome.
Same old.
Just check, have we got everyone in?
We're missing Verbat?
No, we have Verbat and we're missing Kragel and Rose.
I'm here. I'm just in my kitchen. I'm logging into Roll20 right now.
Fair enough. Easy enough done.
Good, so no different than usual.
Thursday.
Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Go
Alright.
back.
Also,
Minimize.
for this week, I'm going to be trying a little bit of an experiment and putting some music on in the background.
What, honey?
Okay.
Let me know if it's alright for you guys, and I'll just have to adjust the volume, because...
Good.
Alright?
I don't hear anything.
Oh, okay. I'll turn it up a bit.
It's on Twitch. It's there.
Okay. Oh.
That'd be good.
Okay, I was expecting something like Fredbot or something like that. Game, I didn't know it was going to be on Twitch.
I'm just playing it through my laptop, so I'm not sure why you can't hear it.
I can hear it when you're talking, but it's because it's using your speakers and all that stuff.
Alright, well...
Oh, good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we may need to talk to you about Fredbot, using something like Fredbot.
Well, I was trying to... I just had to choose between running the Roll20, going through the Roll20 music and picking appropriate tunes, or working on the other stuff. And I figured the official Kingmaker soundtrack would do for this week. Oh, and welcome to whoever's watching already. You've not missed anything yet. So, as of last week, well, not last week, last time. Thanks for the visit from Nurgle I had last week. We've just finished dealing with the Cleric of Rakash, who sacrificed the remaining forces of the siege to try and bring down a firestorm on you, and instead ended up being killed in his fiendish fire elemental form. Oh.
Go us.
Yes.
We're awesome.
And one last thing before we continue, just wanted to say a quick thank you to Heel Kings, who subscribed after the last episode of after we'd already wrapped up on the last episode of Rambling Bards. So thanks very much for that. Alright. Yes, and with that you acquired his red crystal staff that allowed him to pull so much shenanigans with the undead.
Oh, crap.
What's up?
Nothing, it's kitchen stuff, ignore me.
Oh, the joys of kitchen chaos.
Fridge is on
Your
fire.
kitchen explode. No, but I've got water boiling. It's about to go over the rim of my pot.
Nice.
And this is why I am so glad
So I
that
had to
electric...
turn the heat down.
It was the fire elemental lord.
Yeah, fire elemental invaded your kitchen.
Oh. So. Now,
Better
you were
than
given...
having cats trying to eat the chicken that I'm working on.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Right,
Because
so...
they constantly jump up here
Yeah.
to try and eat it. So if you hear me yelling at them, that's why.
Fair enough. at the end of last session, you did manage to effectively gain, by besting the fire elemental, you also gained a effective dominion over your small territory from Rakash, who's basically told you that so long as you do not interfere in his further in his kingdom, he will leave you alone. If you do, he will destroy you, or so he thinks. So you've got some breathing room.
Okay. So what do you guys want to do? Did you want to build up defenses more, or did you want to go scout, or?
Emma is going to be doing her darndest to try and figure out a good defense against the dear God, fire from above, we're all gonna die.
I say divide and conquer, defenses and scouting.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
I agree.
scout.
She's also going to work on. She has a magus and an eldritch scoundrel she needs to train up along with the other seats.
Yes, just remember that thankfully we do have some. When it comes to scouting, you do thankfully have bandits and other trained troops that you can stick to that if you want to. I'll just.
Yeah.
You should have that under the troops section where you can just roll the. You know, either for scouting it would be survival and stealth you would roll.
Mm-hmm. So, Chris, how much land does our domain reside in?
Let's see. You've probably got sort of a 10-mile diameter around the actual mountain that you're based out of. Of course, you can probably push further than that without him noticing. It just depends, because after all, it took you directly interfering with the souls of his followers for him to sort of twig to you. So it just depends on how overt you are in your shows of power outside of your territory.
Yeah. So with talking with some of the other guys and stuff like that, would we know of different groups within that kind of area, or no?
There isn't as much in regards to other groups. I mean, the main one that sort of been able to keep up was the bandit group you've been
Working with, yeah.
Yeah.
and Kroggle, no problem. I hope she's okay.
What happened?
Look at the game chat.
I'm not at my computer.
She laid the burn her finger, so I was having her run your water and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I always hate when that happens. But yeah, so we've just been going over a quick recap and trying to decide what sort of things people want to cover this session. And Carbon, you were asking about potential groups. So far as you know, so the main one you've heard about is obviously the bandits you've already allied with. There might be others who are better hidden, but they've been the most active, so the easiest to find out about.
Okay. Did you guys what did you want to get done during your scouting? Like, are you trying to venture out further than our lands, or are you trying to find other groups?
Honestly, at this point, I want to start mapping out our area. I want to start getting at least start building some sort of maps that we can have for reference.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we can have our people do that kind of stuff.
That's what I figured.
So, but what are we specifically gonna do? That's what I'm
Emma
trying to
had several different projects. I've given a list to Chris, but one thing she's really going to focus on is trying to think of the best way to bolster the defenses. So if we end up with oh hey, Rakash is gonna send doom fire from above, it's not gonna kill us.
Okay.
Oh, yes, that's one thing. As a small reference for you, Arusk, last time, the main reason that he was able to draw it, the firestorm I was mentioning, yeah, it was a minor version of something that was previously used to level a city. Hence why Emma is very much concerned about not having that happen again.
I may try to establish some sort of like outpost. Maybe see if I could borrow maybe some of Emma's people for help with math mapping, and maybe some of Nix's if they'll allow me to take some of their people. Maybe just sort of like put up, with the map making. Maybe create some sort of like camouflage outpost so we can keep people keep watching.
Well, I mean, there's a reason Emma's making that Eldritch Scoundrel. It's so you'll always have someone on with that connected to her with you.
Well, it's not as that. It's more so just I need someone who's capable of making maps, and your people are the most likely.
Well, you can also use. I think at least some of the scouts have cartography. Or if I've not given it to them, they should do.
Yeah, even better.
As far as craft skills go for scouts, it does seem a rather obvious one.
True.
So if I haven't given it to them, just make a second survival check for now, and we can apply that as the thing they use for making the map. So I think you should have the ability to access the scouts under the troop section.
Yep, I got him.
Okay, cool. Just to say for reference, Nix, the Delver squad as I've listed it is your Deep Walkers.
Okay.
I'll get around to getting all the rest of the various archetypes that you lot have created at some point. I was just trying to remember them all.
There should be a list on my character sheet.
Did not realise that.
Huh?
Did not realise that. I now feel like an utter numpty.
Yeah, I put it on there, I think, last time we played, because I couldn't remember all the ones that I had. So I was like going back, trying to make a list while we were playing.
Alright, I'll look that up and make sure to get the rest of the troops lined up before next week. Maybe I should start organising the troop folder into by commanders rather than just having them in general. Oh well. So, Emma has her project. Is there anyone else who has any immediate ideas of what they want to go looking into? Oh. Well, and Aras obviously has his hides to set up, which we can do it.
Yeah, hopefully at least help me hope to try and come across some more people. We can figure out that.
Alright, okay.
That'll be the main stuff.
Yeah, and the Eldritch Scoundrel who's going to be with the scouting team is going to have one very important purpose, and that is to try and see if he can find any other casters, because Emma knows there are other sorcerers. Just trying to figure out where that camp is, so if we need to, we can eventually go and spring back.
Ah, right, of course, yes. Sorry. Forgetting my own lore at the moment there.
Are there any, like, minorly poisonous plants, like, near us?
You could probably find a few if you had some of the scouts go looking and doing a survival or knowledge and nature check. If you got the scout, if a few of the scouts didn't mind going and having a look.
Oh, I almost forgot. Emma would also want, pretty much immediately once things come down, she would probably have a conversation with her.
Yeah, you kind of cut out there, Emma.
Emma would have a conversation with Verbatim pretty close after the attack happened.
Okay.
Probably in that very day. And we can RP that whenever there's time.
Got time now. Go, go.
Okay. Once everything's really officially over and there's a moment, Emma would kind of try and Emma would ask to speak with Verbatim privately. She'd pretty much be going up to Verbatim. Verbatim, may I have a word, please?
Verbatim's in his study going over his thermite formula, so he's probably by himself. And he'll look up. Yeah, what you got?
None with
I
thermite.
hope you don't think bored, but I did have a question.
Ask away.
Why are you not teaching anyone your magic?
Why am I not teaching anyone my magic?
Yeah, that's
Kind of looks over his very, very meager list and shrugs. Well, you pretty much got that.
well, I've been avoiding trying to teach bards because you would probably be better at it than I am. So, if you don't want to, I'd be glad to, but I'd like your blessing before I do so.
Go ahead. Doesn't bother me any.
Thank you. And I hope you don't mind. I do apologize for asking, but we now know there are bards on the other side, and it's always a good idea to make sure that our scouting groups have such defenses.
Sure.
Okay, training bards is now on Emma's list.
Okay. So that will be further.
Yeah, because she's kind of been given Verbatim time, and she's just finally like, okay, what the hell?
Yeah, fair enough.
Verbatim has no interest in teaching people whatsoever.
Wow, were you going to have a real trouble founding your religion at that point?
Yeah.
Verbatim, the forgotten deity in the sequel campaign.
She's fine by me.
Oh no, he's not gonna be forgotten, he's gonna be the most popular one.
Yeah.
You gotta think about it, he's the bard. He's gonna be able to tell the tale.
Fair point.
Yeah. And also, once that's done, Emma would probably be getting some engineers doing the thing I messaged you about earlier, correct?
Yeah, that's not a problem. If you just,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, if you just, they should have I was gonna say the engineer unit should have craft engineering that you can just, or a knowledge engineering check rather than you can just give a roll of that and we'll see how long it'll take.
Okay, let's make that roll.
And with that survival check earlier, it was looking for various poisons and venom, and a lot of fiber.
You definitely be able to
Maybe
find.
some Epsom salt.
What is it with this party and war crimes?
Don't look at me, I'm not doing them.
What war crimes?
Oh, you're telling me that the Epsom salt isn't going to lead to some form of war crime?
Oh, it isn't.
No.
You gotta.
It isn't
you gotta-
directly.
You gotta think about it. I'm getting fiber and Epsom salt in the name of purity.
That does not make it sound better.
Alright.
Garrus suddenly hides all of his people who's about to start having craft poison.
I know what you actually mean. It's just
It's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I went ahead and I rolled the clockwork just so I could make the plan.
Okay, no problem.
For this project.
That'll be fine. It'll take them a little while, but yeah, they should be able to get to work on the. Just let me double check. What was it?
The thing that she will show the others later.
Oh right, yeah. So, anyone else have anything they want to do at the moment?
Can I check in on my researchers?
Of course. Trying to remember what they
See
were.
what they've gotten done so far?
Yes, I'm just trying to remember what you were researching because my brain's gone blank on me at the moment.
So, like, half of them were doing, like, the healing, and the other half were just doing the repos.
Alright, yeah, sorry, clerical research, sorry.
Yep.
Just, as I say, sleepier than I expected. Okay, yeah, there'll be, you'd have a few, you would have a few philosophical clerics, definitely.
Oh yeah, and I want to go to one of the two people in our group that knows alchemy. Which one would be available?
Verbatim, she's working on his thermite.
I will be if you can remember my character's name this time.
I was about to say I'm going with Rotten either way because he said, first, so I'm gonna go to him.
Fair enough.
Yes, this is not at all because Kroggle has trouble with names.
So do I. Terrible.
Kroggle doesn't have any issues with names. It's Cameron who has issues with names.
Fair enough. I can say nothing. Only reason I can remember him is because I stare at him so much when I'm working on stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna go to you and ask you if you can make this Epsom salt and fiber mixture more powerful. I want it at least to last 2 days.
About raises an eyebrow. He's like, what? Epsom salt and fiber.
I'll raise an eyebrow and be like, have you ever eaten Epsom salt?
No, I take a bath with it.
Someone told me once.
Picturing someone sitting in the bath and eating the water.
Someone once told me.
Fiber in here.
Oh, is this one of those? Is this one of those who'd you cleanse your body things?
Yes, I'm trying to cleanse my body because boxers actually use this to get weight because it's just everything comes out.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, that sounds more unpleasant than useful.
And you want this to last for 48 hours?
He's trying, I'm trying to look into all the subdomains. So I'm looking into purity and solitude because I'm gonna have to solitude. I'm gonna need a lot of solitude.
I want to be around you.
I'll take some of that for as a torture instrument.
And maybe, just maybe. No, I'm not gonna go that far.
Go ahead. Might as well hear what your idea was.
I was like, and maybe learn a little bit about the subdomain of blood in the process as well.
Oh.
Oh boy.
I will say with crafting, I'm probably gonna have at least a bunch of my people start crafting out this fire is basically anti-siege equipment.
Fair enough.
Gonna replace the tar with something worse.
Okay.
You alright, Nix?
I'm sorry, Cat.
Verboten will certainly help you out the best he can, and he'll try to keep his opinions to himself.
Okay, if you could roll me a craft alchemy check.
don't nat 20 on this. Please do not nat 20 on this.
One day we just have to evacuate an entire level just because of the smell.
I do have a...
There you go. Did not nat 20 it.
It's still enough to get sort of what the... It's still enough to get somewhat of a strengthened effect. It's not going to quite have him... It's thankfully not going to have him actually stuck for 48 hours, but it... Which would probably be more dangerous than it is healthy.
And I'm going to gather lots of water before I go down there. Because I'm going to the caves.
If you're going down to the caves, you're taking one of my delvers with you.
Why aren't
And
you just
I'm
going
not
into
taking
one of
no
the?
for an
Why aren't you
answer.
just going into one of the abandoned buildings that actually has a bathroom?
Oh no, and I don't want to be any place because there's going to be screams and I don't want people coming in.
Sounds like my Thursday night.
The juice cleanse is real.
No, if it was the juice cleanse that I've heard of, it'd be far worse. Eesh.
Alright.
I mean, I don't know if I mean the weirdest one I've heard of is basically someone trying to chug liquefied seaweed.
That just sounds disgusting.
It's actually, I was going to say, the person who put it through as a health cure, without any medical licensing, is currently being sued.
Well, you get what you deserve in that case.
Well, yeah, because basically you were supposed to be, each day you were supposed to be having something like half a pound of either seaweed or cabbage or kale, and a gallon of seawater.
What?
Wait, seawater?
Yeah.
Well,
I can see
homemade.
why he's going-
Well, basically, you were supposed to put dissolve salt in water until you had something equivalent to seawater.
That's
really
for
dumb,
issues.
but alright.
Yes, and somehow this woman made a business out of it.
Well,
As I say,
Alright.
it's currently facing multiple lawsuits due to the massive health issues she caused because she was selling it as a health expert.
I'm ready to hear about the cleanse, though. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm going to fade to black on that.
You love us too much, thank you.
No, it's more I don't want to have to describe it. I am a sadist, but I do not want to have to scrub it from my own brain. I don't have that much brain bleach.
Rude.
There is brain bleach. It's expensive, but you can get brain bleach.
Yeah, I'm short enough on cash as it is. I'm not trying to get any. I'm not putting in the extra for the brain bleach.
You can get cheap brain bleach, it's just beer.
No, the cheap stuff is the moonshine.
Yeah, and unfortunately that can also make you really blind if you get from the wrong distributor.
I prefer absinthe myself.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Some days you need it.
Because wormwood is amazing.
Most absinthe doesn't have wormwood in
Alright,
anymore.
I think we went around the rabbit hole, guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Let's
Alright.
get back to what we were doing.
quite. Okay, so with Krogel occupied for the next 24 to 36 hours, potentially longer depending on how long it takes him to get clean. Does anyone else have any plans they want to get into, or should directly, or should it be that we move on to Emma's second plan, which I believe was having a chat with the spirit of the Queen?
Yes, having a chat with the person in the ring that Emma sometimes can talk to.
You can go ahead.
Spirit of the Ring.
Well, it's basically a psychic remnant of the Queen, of the former fortress, who's basically who can basically give some advice on working with the magics of the fortress. I explained it several sessions ago. I think about 10 sessions ago. Hence why it's not been brought
Yeah.
up.
Do you want to get in on this?
I mean, with Riposte, I can definitely try to use some of my divinity and help you out, because I can talk to the souls and spirits and
Well, if you were to get
stuff.
involved, just say, Aaron, if you were to get involved, you could potentially call back, do an actual sort of like a seance thing to actually call back the full spirit rather than the partial remnant that's left in the ring.
Hell yeah! I can hook it up.
Alright.
I'll do it. Why not? Let's go.
Oh, okay, let's do this.
Alright, so you'd be. I was gonna say, easiest place to access it from is the throne room. So I'll move us back to that map. Been a while since we've been on that.
I'm bringing my scholars for the Repose domain with me.
Okay, no problem.
They will annotate this.
Yeah, and I will say, you will notice that Emma has been talking a lot with the Repose people, and if you ask them about it, they will not tell. They hopefully will be nice and keep Emma's secret. Alright.
Are you trying to undermine my people?
No.
No, she just had an idea and wanted to work with them a little bit on it. And it's a surprise, so you gotta wait.
She's starting a coup.
Around the Cuba. Alright, where we
Well,
at?
if she was going to do that, it'd be very easy. She controls all the magical defenses in the city.
Yeah.
She's doing else to do.
Very much if I really wanted to, I really could. If I really went evil, I could really kill all of them.
Well, even if not kill, you could at the very least do the whole. Yeah, I've locked you all outside. I run this place now.
I'm an evasion. I'd survive long enough.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure both of our powers are in that. Just
Yeah.
But anyways, alright, I'm in the throne room. Let's do this.
Okay, if you could give me a knowledge religion check.
Knowledge
Emma
religion.
will
Alright.
assist.
Skills.
Alright, where's religion? Yep, there it is.
Boom.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. You're able to put together a seance focused on the ring to call up the full embodiment of. I'm forgetting the character's names. Then again, she hasn't appeared in 10 sessions, so I think I can be excused.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, not being no
Queen
far.
Marwyn.
Thank you. Yes, Queen Marwyn of Delgan. So, once again, the Emerald Spirit does appear before you. So I return to Delgan. What causes you to call me back to my home after sending me onwards to the afterlife?
Emma will give a small bow and say, I am very sorry for bothering you, but... Well, and then she'll go on explaining the Rakash's death from above thing. And I wanted to try and think of a good defense. Try to ensure that no matter what happens, this place will endure.
Aye, well, I can always respect that. And wait, you manage to not only beat back his siege, but killed one of the snaggletooth, red-eyed bastard's clerics.
Yeah, I did a nasty slash on him. It wasn't nice.
Ah, this is excellent news. Well,
Miss Ross goes, I thought that'd make you happy.
yes, well, let's see. You're looking to... And how much are you telling her about the preparations for the siege, just to ask?
Emma is being pretty much as much detail as both she can put up with and Aaron will allow her to do.
Okay, so you managed to bless the water, as in the water that flows all throughout this city.
Yeah.
And enchant. Okay, that would. Well, have you tried sitting in the have you tried communing with the magics of this place yet?
I was actually getting ready to. I wanted to make.
Well, if you commune with the magics right, if you've got an established circle, then you should be able to redirect the energies from the circle that created the spell and use it as and reformat it into a barrier that'd be partially fed by some of the mana source that's at the core of the magical defences. I mean, it'll take a fair bit of work, but I mean, we did something. I mean, there's old legends of the gods doing something similar millennia back when they were dealing with a demon-possessed undead moon.
Okay, I'm just gonna think about that.
I just turn around and look at my scholars and make sure they're writing.
And there's just suddenly appears the typewriter.
Would that be a knowledge history for Emma trying to remember that incident?
Yes, if you want to.
Yeah, because I was like, wait, why'd I roll 5? Stupid 5. Oh well, 15.
Okay, you've got some vague recollections. This would be from your current time. This would either be 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, when it was said that one of the gods the gods created a great shield of positive energy over a continent to prevent the impact of the demon-possessed undead moon.
Emma just has this big old smile on her face, just said, I am gonna have to look into this.
Yeah. Effectively, it's the main issue is that you're calling on collective consciousness sort of thing, of, collective memories, and it sort of it was hard to understand for most people even when they were seeing it at the time. And it's trying to decipher the actual divine knowledge from all the dear gods, what's happening? Why is there a moon with a face falling from the sky, and why has it turned from night to day?
Yeah.
There's a lot of confused mortal in with your knowledge reservoir about that particular incident. Hence what makes it...
As Emma said last week, it's like everyone is screaming in her head and she has to focus through all the
Yes, and with certain ones there's more screaming than others. Near-apocalyptic events tend to have that, make it worse.
Rose, you might want to put yourself in push down because we're getting a lot of background noise.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's alright, I can understand the frustrations of trying to cook and do something else at the same time.
No, I'm done cooking now.
Just dealing with the cat.
Trying to wrangle cat.
No, my eyes were bothering me and I just had to put my hair up, fix my hair real quick.
No, you're good.
Fair enough. So, I'm guessing... So that's the main bit of information. If you do have any other questions you want to ask, you can do.
Emma will ask about the purpose of the gates that they found that control the water.
The gates was just a second... It was a combination of a security measure and a way of further solidifying ourselves against siege. We could solidify and guarantee ourselves a pure source of water, and and deny people access, and it had the added advantage that if some idiot decided to try trekking up the mountain, tried climbing up what was formerly the waterfall, you could lower the gate and take care of a good chunk of the enemy army in one fell swoop.
Thank you, because I was very curious about that when we found.
Unfortunately, doesn't work when you've got enemies that already have Unfortunately, doesn't work so well when you've got something that has flying minions as part of their forces.
Very much not an understatement. Alright, does Aaron have anything that she wants to ask?
I'm curious.
Aye, lass?
Queen. If we need you, would you be willing to send aid through me one last time?
Of course we would. You've purified the corruption of Delgern, and you're doing your best to fight back against the hobgoblins who forced my people into such a cruel and honorless death. If you put out the call, the forces of Delgern will ride at full force against anything you should. Though I would say, if you're intending to do it, make sure it's something decent. Me boys will be. Otherwise, I'll have to put up with my soldiers complaining that their last battle was a walk in the park, and I don't have the time for that, and I don't want to have to put up with that for all eternity.
I understand.
For hardened soldiers, they whine like newborns.
Okay. And then I want to do something a little cheeky here. Can I ask for her hand?
Huh?
And I'd like to see if I can't use some of my power and draw a symbol on her hand, and see if it stays as like my mark.
Okay, yeah, you can make an attempt at that again. It'd be knowledge religion again, just because that's the easiest skill to.
What is it?
Knowledge religion again, just because that's the easiest one to.
Copy.
It's either that or spellcraft, and I don't think you've got any. I'm not sure how many ranks you've got in that.
Okay, I'll do knowledge religion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, with a 17, that's good enough.
Sweet.
A mark of alliance. Fair enough. At which point she'll grasp your forearm quite firmly. This should act as a bit. I'll return the favour. This should act as a bit of an easier focus for when you want to call on the power of Delgern.
Yes.
Which.
I like her. I like her a lot right now.
Which point there is you've now got a symbol in the. You've now got a.
I got a spectral tattoo.
Yeah, a spectral tattoo of an emerald anvil with a golden heart embossed on it, on the back of your hand. You can suppress it. You can suppress it with a thought, but.
Sweet. All right, guys. Got my army.
Oh. Well, I've just been guaranteed a Return of the King moment.
Yes,
Now
you
you
have.
beat me to it.
And we are
You're
going,
damn straight I did.
and it'll be amazing.
Oh yeah.
All right. That's all I needed.
We're gonna have to use it at a very, very epic moment.
Damn straight.
Oh, it's not like you've got a god's capital to siege at some point in the future, is it?
Oh yeah.
Break down the gates and that's only send them all in.
I got lands to conquer now.
Ooh, no, that's gonna be awesome.
All right.
Not
That's all I
gonna
needed. I thank the queen and go on.
No, no, it was. I should have waited anyway. It's good moving on to something else. You finish.
No, I think I'm done. So if you're good.
Yeah, but you deserve your send out or whatever you're gonna say.
That was all, man.
I was going to say, I think the
All
next
right.
bit we would be moving on to would be, would be Emma's trying to join with the magic, but I'm guessing you're alright with waiting a moment for that, Emma?
I'm alright with waiting.
Okay,
I was just gonna say, I was gonna send some of the engineers to start repairing the dam. Start hopefully replacing the busted parts.
yeah, that's not a problem. If I was going to say, that's not a problem. If you just roll a knowledge engineering check for me, or craft, knowledge engineering rather. Well, hey, yeah, there might be a few parts they have to custom make or get the blacksmith to custom make, but they're fairly sure they can get it all working.
Sounds good. And once.
Also,
we can go to
we'll.
Emma next. I got something else, but they can.
I'll also say that will grant the engineers working on it a decent knowledge of getting their heads around hydraulics as well. So.
Yeah, that on top of the bugs.
Yep, and I think at this point Emma's printing press probably would have made at least enough for each person to have at least shared copy.
Yeah. So, Emma, you're trying to join with the magic of the citadel to try and link it to your wave shield.
Yep. All right, let's give this a whirl. See how this goes. This is gonna be fun. All right. So, what would this roll need to
You can do either knowledge arcane or a spellcraft check, whichever you prefer.
Spellcraft's higher. I'll go with spellcraft. Emma's just going to find a nice secluded place and just kind of relax, focus, and pray to whatever God can really pray to, or someone with a divine spark, that she doesn't accidentally blow this place. Oh!
You can try. Thankfully, that's just a. You can now try knowledge arcane if you want, because that would simply be an.
Yeah.
You're unable to actually make the connection this time, so you can try again.
Yeah. All right. Knowledge arcana.
Should have studied
25.
first.
Yeah, there we go. Much better.
Okay. Your vision fades to black, and then you are presented with what you're fairly sure is a 3D construct of Delgern laid out in, and the river of Delgern laid out in blue lines, sort of like a blue-coloured grid map of the structure. And you can all, at the centre of which is a glowing sphere, which you're fairly certain is the magical power core of the city. You also notice that flowing through the city is, well, there is a depiction of the water that's now glowing with a lower brightness, but still clearly glowing with the power of mana.
Okay. Emma's going to dig deep and focus on it. See if she's able to make any contact with it or to use it in any way.
You are able to. Which are you trying to connect with? The river or the core?
She's gonna try and connect with the core first.
Okay. You're able to. You're easily able to connect with the core. You have the ring as a focus, after all.
Yeah.
So.
Woohoo! So what happens when she's able to connect? When she connects?
You're effectively able to see all throughout the city and identify all the different traps and security. You're even able to although it's a more cracked vision, you're even able to see onto the island with the gate controls.
Very nice. Okay. Given that,
He's done like it's an eyeful, like Ragnar's doing to himself.
yeah, and that is the can't unsee. My eyes, goggles they do nothing moment. But Emma is going to inhale, exhale, and then try and bring the river in on this.
Okay, well, as you begin to do that, you notice that as you begin to focus on the river, you notice there are tendrils of mana going out along the grid. And eventually they will reach the various aqueducts and connect to the edge. They haven't so they've connected to the edge of the aqueduct, but they haven't actually begun to merge the magic. You would need to make another either knowledge arcana or spellcraft check to attempt to do so.
Alright, she is gonna try. Alright. $16 for the spellcraft, and
Okay.
knowledge arcana 12.
Okay, with the spellcraft, you're just the connection is hazy, but you're just about able to get to make the link. Now, it'll depend on what you want to do with this effect, how you want to shape it. If you want, you can attempt another knowledge arcana check to try and figure out best possible ways, or you can just try and figure it out without that and tell me what you would like to do, and we'll see what we can do with
She'll
that.
make a knowledge arcana check to try and think of the most efficient way for this to work. One that'll maximum output with minimum input, if that makes sense.
Okay.
19.
Okay. It's just okay. The easiest way to do it would be to use the already enchanted. Would be to bind the mana flows of the river and the citadel together. At which point the easiest shape for it would be to effectively have a reactive dome shield be created. So it would effectively
Very nice.
it would effectively wrap the valley, the mountain, and the camp within a dome. Whilst admittedly only under fire effects at the moment, you would have to do some serious work to get it to be a more generalised defensive field.
Alright, well, she'll at least try and make it for the fire, because she knows right now the main thing they have to worry about is fire from above.
Okay. Now I will say, if you want, you can take 20 on this if you so wish.
She is. She
Oh.
is going to be as careful, making sure that all I's are dotted, all T's are crossed, and no chance.
Okay. So what would the end result be if you take 20?
For which ones? Spellcraft or Knowledge Arcana?
Spellcraft.
31.
Okay. Fair enough. Right. So you are with that you are definitely able to get the connections, and you are able to successfully create the dome shield effect. This also means that the general wave shield effect you had on the river is now self-perpetuating.
Nice.
because it's effectively used because motion of the river is the motion of flowing water is now partially being used in sort of a hydro mana plant. So the flow of the water around the city is partially recharging the mana core of the city.
Emma just made a hydroelectric dam. More or less. That's nice.
Yes.
Or wave generator, whichever anyone wants to think of it as.
Yes. I will say, however, we're going to step away from you now because, well, that's going to have taken a couple of days in meditation.
Yeah. Emma's pretty much just kind
So
of
juice cleanse and meditation days. Got it.
Yes.
Yeah,
If anyone does come across Emma in that time, you will just say if anyone comes across Emma in that time, you will find her floating off the ground and glowing blue.
Sweet.
Well, she's a vegetable. Put her out of her misery.
Wait. Can we like move her if she's floating?
You
I'm just curious.
If you try, there is a. It's not quite an electric shock, but it's sort of an energy. But basically, you get sort of like a static shock.
Could you imagine just like pushing her out into like the middle of the lake, and then like she wakes up, just falls?
She sneezes, that's what's like 20 sticks tied to each other.
It's like when you have like the inflatable mattresses when you're camping, and you like stick those people out in like in the river or something like that, and they like wake up.
And people wonder why I don't go camping.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you the first thing she would have done as soon as that happened, she just would have gone, people must pay.
Yes, because annoying the person who effectively controls the central heating of the entire building is always a good idea.
New gods are a bunch of 20-year-olds. No, teenagers.
Well, technically Emma is 19.
Is only 22.
And I would also say that this is the first bit of freedom they've actually had, so yeah, it's not surprising. Well, that's
Yeah,
a
we are-
worrying thought.
we are
They're
mature-
equivalent
we are
of...
immature as heck.
Yeah.
Yeah, my character's like a teenager too. Mine's like only 45.
I was going to say,
Alright.
yes, and... Oh, that's a worrying thought. A bunch of equivalent to college freshmen whose equivalent to spring break is getting godlike powers.
Exactly!
The test to get to the Thieves Guild is just doing take stands.
Thieves Guild cake stands while trying to steal my pocket watch.
Perfect.
Oh god, does that mean your Thieves Guild's gonna have a hazing ritual?
Well, it's considering we're all thieves. It's pretty much a guess. It's pretty much required. So it's gonna develop a.
Oh god. Fraternity of the Twisted Nail, what next?
Alright, what I've been trying to say is, okay, once Krogno's exited his personal hell, I'll approach him and go, Krogno, you said you're able to enchant weapons, correct?
No.
Yeah.
Armor.
Yeah, never mind then.
It's like, wrong way round.
I remembered someone saying they could.
Well, you can, you
mean,
can with the right
once
thing
I take
enchant
a
the.
feat, then I can.
Then
Oh hey, can someone here make something that can talk?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Give
What
them
kind of something?
Give them a
Like-
few doubles, and we're gonna have clockwork familiars running around that can record.
I can summon things, and they might speak a different language.
No, I need something like a music box, but with voices.
Yeah, a recording device is on Emma's list. I just gotta wait a few levels before I can do it.
Well, technically, it doesn't have to be like a recording device at all. It could just be a way to manipulate a music box to, instead of playing the music, it plays.
Talking about like trying to enchant it with like ghost sound or something like that.
I guess that would work too.
I mean,
you can ask Emma once she's done with the meditation. She can probably make a music. She can probably make a little music box.
Yeah, it's pretty low DC. Okay, other thing I was gonna do is, as scouts are heading out, I'm basically gonna be basically trying to channel the darkness to make something like their cloaks, just try to give them some that sort of extra added little boon to their ability.
Okay. If you want to make me a... Yeah, I suppose stealth check would be the best answer for manipulating shadows, because... I would normally say spellcraft, but it doesn't seem fair when it isn't a class skill.
Yeah, and 27.
Okay. So, yes, you've been able... Yes, they've effectively now got a +3 bonus to their stealth checks, and they've got their boots and cloaks have been dyed black with almost liquid shadow wrapping around them.
Eris, even if he doesn't give himself the same enchantment, is doing the same thing to his own gear because that looks fucking awesome.
Fair enough.
And, I won't join all setting missions, but if they seem like they're gonna find something or someone's find anything interesting, then I'll probably join.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Oh, and before I forget it, here's the craft off me for all that alchemist fire I was talking.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you've got... Yeah, you'd have a few cases of yeah, you'd have a few bottles of alchemist fire.
It's not melted sugar, but it will do.
Yeah, well, melted sugar's hard to get hold of. You do not have
For
enough.
now.
You do not have enough beets to make the sugar. And even if you did, that's kind of a waste of a high nutrient resource.
Yeah, speaking of growing stuff, how are our farms doing? Because I know we haven't checked on that for a while.
You've got some... you'd have some general resources, some... Because you've not raided the... Because you haven't gone after a raid on the farming place yet, but you've got some general supplies being grown.
Alright, good. Just need to make sure we have at least some renewable stuff.
Yeah. Admittedly, you could also have some of your scouts go looking to see if they can find any of the leftover stuff from the siege, because they would have almost certainly had supplies.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get those supplies there, because I know at least we already grabbed the siege weapons.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely put some of the engineers over towards repairing this said siege weaponry.
Yeah, no problem. See, so we've had Kragle's moment of deep discomfort. Aris proceeding with his plans, as are Emma and Aaron. So, Nyx, Rabatin, is there anything you want to do at the moment?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm kind of putting together a list on the party notes with everyone's domains, so I can kind of see what I might be able to mesh with. I think the only one I'm missing is Emma. What are your domains, Emma?
Magic and knowledge right now.
Okay.
Though she is very much pining for the artifice.
You've been planning for that ever since you found the hammer.
No, I was thinking of that ever since I gave her craft clockwork.
Fair enough.
Alright, so I've updated that. If anybody has any issues, just let me know.
I'll double check it in a little bit, just to make sure it's all lining up.
Luck pretty much goes with everything.
Yeah.
travel and war. Might be able to do something with that. Travel and magic, definitely.
Oh yeah,
Travel and
definitely.
community.
At some point, we are going to have a talk about Emma's scroll of teleportation. And
Yeah, getting some more of those would definitely be helpful. And you have Scribe Scroll, right? Or no?
no, but I do have.
No?
But
Oh.
she is going to start training wizards who can.
Gotcha. Oh, and will our domains have the domain abilities? Travel has the dimensional hop.
Eventually you will get something in line with it. It might not be exactly the same, but you will get something
But
similar
something
to.
close to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, yeah, he's definitely going to start playing around with, I guess
Oh, dear.
his gem, I guess. I don't know how this would translate. But basically trying to manipulate travel magic and trying to see what he can do with it.
Okay. Well, if you've got anything in particular you want to test out, just shout up and we'll have to figure out how you go about testing that.
Okay. So yeah, basically he's going to be trying to move from room to room without walking.
Okay.
Okay, you lay on the ground, you start flexing your ab muscles.
I was thinking more of his buttocks, but whatever.
So we've got one that's going to make you look like a salmon, and the other one that makes you sound like you're imitating All Might.
I was picturing him twerking.
And back to the brain bleach.
Yep.
Or, you could imitate SpongeBob and just sit on a rock.
I'd rather not bring SpongeBob into a fantasy universe.
I don't really have any experience with SpongeBob, so...
I know the scene he's talking about, and if it ever was brought into a fantasy universe, I think I would have to introduce something with flamethrowers just to get rid of it. I used to watch SpongeBob when I was very young, and I got sick, and it took me only a couple of years to get very sick of it.
But yeah, that's what Robot's doing.
Okay, right. I was gonna say you can either, I'd say either give me a spellcraft check or a knowledge geography.
I'm going to use my luck domain and reroll it.
Okay.
Oy.
Thankfully, you get to keep whichever. Nope. Okay. Okay, with that. Right. Yes, you're able to. Yes, with the 29, you are definitely able to. You're able to manage a small dimensional. You manage to get a small dimensional slide sort of effect. It's not quite in between rooms, but you do manage to not end up but you do also, thankfully, stop before entering a wall.
So he ports partly across the room and stops himself before he enters the wall.
Yeah. You probably get about 20 feet. No, 30 feet, sorry. I think you're only level 2 still.
Okay.
But you do feel a drain on yourself, as if you've been putting a strain on your magic.
Do I get like the sense that I'm not ready for this yet? Or...
It's basically, it's sort of, You're very close, but it's not. But you're not quite ready to try and do this all the time. To do this as freely as you normally would be able to.
Okay, Chris needs to hurry up and allow this to level 4.
Yes, don't worry. I fully intend to give you guys a challenge that will put you there. I'm trying to pace it so that you'll get to the different levels at a somewhat decent pace, but also not so quick that it gets ridiculous.
Other than that, he continues to work on his thermite formula, and he's also going to start practicing with luck and probability.
By the way, Verban, I have a request.
That isn't worrying after the last one at all.
With our powers combined, can we mix travel and protection together?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, that should. Yeah, with
I'm
the.
thinking like it may be able to block people from teleporting in.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay. You think there are? I was gonna say if you, from what I was gonna say, if you spend some time meditating on the different aspects of your powers, you can think of 3 potential ways, although they would be taxing to varying degrees. You could, as you mentioned, potentially block teleportation. That would be the most taxing of the 3 potential uses. The second most taxing is that you might be able to you should be able to block scrying to a certain degree. And the least taxing of the effects you could generate together would be to create a traveller's ward, something that would grant protection to those who's travelling with you. Create a sort of a prolonged version of your aura with some additional benefits.
Also, I do have a request for you. Other than this, which is, can you try and mix the travel with darkness and trickery to make an illusion domain?
I'm out of character. Isn't there already an illusion domain?
No, not like an illusion domain. I mean like a illusionary, like, you know how like in stories elves always have like a misty area where everyone gets lost in the forest? Like that.
Oh, like the Fey realm.
Like a misdirection thing.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah. Yeah, that's something we could work on.
Yeah. I say that would definitely be a possibility with depending on whether it was worked with the trickery, darkness, or both. You could potentially do anything up to and including a phantom caravan effect.
And I also want to go to Emma to see if I can mix magic and protection together, because protection seems to be like the easiest one to mix with everything.
You're gonna have to wait until she is back on the ground.
Oh, like, we probably got done at the same time.
No, she started after you, so it would have been.
Oh, okay.
It would have been sort of a day after. It would be sort of a day after that she'd be after you that she'd be finished.
Okay, then I'll go to Aaron then and ask to mix the war and healing.
Oh, that's.
Oh, yeah. I don't see why not.
Okay, if you could roll me a quick knowledge dungeoneering and knowledge religion check, so I can give you a bit more information on what could potentially done there.
Sure.
Knowledge dungeoneering, what?
Well, it's religion for Aaron and dungeoneering for you. Okay, yeah, you've got enough to figure out. The easiest sort of effect that you could create with that would be that you might be able to with the correct ritual, be able to grant the lesser vampiric enchantment to weapons. I think it's the lesser vampiric that would be the appropriate descriptor. So let me double check the actual term for it. Yeah, you'd be able to grant the vampiric enchantment.
Pure.
Yeah, I'll read it off Archive and Message. Just give me a second whilst it loads.
Alright, alright.
The weapon, basically, the weapon restores the amount of hit points to the wielder equal to half the damage dealt to the target, equal to a maximum number equal to the wielder's number of hit dice.
Now, is this like an aura thing, or are we, like...
You could potentially do it as... something that would... You could potentially do it as a combined blessing that would affect a certain number of people. Potentially you could expand it to a larger number if you had Nyx's help with the community effect. With the effect of community. But you could also potentially perform rituals to apply the enchantment, which is a +1 enchantment, to masterwork weapons.
Okay.
Do we have enough power to fuel a 1 inch by 1 inch area indefinitely?
No, it would have to be repeated. It would have to be. You would be able to affect multiple weapons with the ritual, but you would have to either create a circle or perform the ritual, or prepare the ritual and perform it each time you wanted to grant the enchantments.
Okay. I want to experiment with this a little bit. So would you mind putting it in this, I have like a little box that I hand you. I'm like, would you mind putting like a small ritual circle right there? Of your power, and I'll mix my power into it?
I will say you would not be able to do a ritual circle that small. It's going to require you're going to have to use a room for this.
A room to enchant like a 1 inch by 1 inch area?
Oh, well, no, you wouldn't be able to. You would need something. You'd be able to maybe enchant a block or something, but you wouldn't be able to enchant an area with the effect.
Okay, so like if I wanted to see if I couldn't make like an area where I could forge like nails with this ability or something.
Oh, that would be more like creating a enchant. If you wanted to do something like that, you would have to. That would be a whole different thing, but you would have to basically work on a ritual to impart the power into a forge room, and that would be more of a research thing for now.
Okay, because can you help me research into that, because I want to do that to a bowl, like just a regular bowl.
Okay.
I am now deeply concerned.
Yes, we'll have the vampiric bull.
And
It
now
will
we're
suck
into
your
Littlest
blood.
Vampire territory. I never thought I would see a day where a D&D campaign spoofs a 90s children's movie unintentionally.
It's like the reverse of the Holy Grail.
Yeah, nice.
You drink from it, you just die because it drinks all your blood. It's like, oh, okay.
Alright.
You take a lot of drink, right? You just find it refilled. It's not taking.
Right.
Basically, I expect the research to be a lot quicker if we do it to like a bowl, and then try and do it to an anvil.
I think I have misunderstood. I believe you're saying bowl and not bull, as in the bovine beastie.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not.
That's
We're
what I
not.
was hearing was bull.
Yeah, we're not. We're not making vampire bowl, okay? I meant a bowl, like you put salad into it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where I'm getting confused because that's why I was
That's why
making.
I said the Holy Grail. It's like a reverse Holy Grail.
Yes, but I was misunderstanding and thinking you were trying to pull the vampire cow routine from Littlest Vampire.
No.
No, I'm thinking if we make a bowl, like at least we could test out the enchanting properties with it because we could make like a clay dagger.
Okay, yeah, that would be yes, that could be, yeah, you could, something like that would be viable, yes. It would take you a while to get it working, but yes, you could. It'd take you a while to figure out the right runic scripts to get it in blaze. And once Emma's awake, you might want to ask her for a bit of help with that.
Alright, I plan on it. Just she's not awake yet, so I was going around doing things because I need her help on something.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
And thus the Vampire Legion was born.
And somehow they're the good guys in this
And
campaign.
as soon as Emma's done, she'll be coming out and she'll just be going, coffee.
I think food might be a bit more of a priority. You haven't eaten in 2 days.
Yeah, food and coffee, which is
Coffee's
mostly really
food.
kind of like I need coffee and I need food.
Sorry, all your writers have laced it as you have to be installed.
Alright. So, when she's finally, whenever
When you're feeling
whenever
vaguely human
Kraga
again.
wants to meet Emma, he'll probably find her in the cafeteria just stuffing her face like food.
And thus we see a resurfacing of Anya from last game.
No, Emma has table manners. Just again, how many days? 3, 4 days without food and water.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days without food. She's hungry.
Completely understandable.
Ayers leaves for a couple days, comes back wearing really fancy robes. His hair's dyed.
Oh, so you're now walking around
Hair's
constantly
dyed,
robed
okay.
in shadow.
Yeah. Oh, but one thing Emma will have done once she has sustenance, she would check on the project she said a few of the engineers.
It'd have a good start on it. It'd probably take about a week total.
Okay. And she will be looking at the reposed scribes and checking to make sure that the thing she's asking them to do in regards to this project is working out as well.
Yeah, don't worry, that'll be fine. They're obviously not putting as much priority as they are on their own studies because, well, they have to.
Yeah, they have their own guy they gotta make sure doesn't want to kill them. Emma's just, again, this is just something she thinks needs to be there.
Okay, while you're stuffing your face, I'm like, I have 2 things. We're trying to enchant this bowl right here, and he's helping me. And I set the bowl and Aaron on the table.
Well, Aaron's a she for a start, but
Yeah.
and I think that might be dangerous for you.
Emma's just like, okay, what do you want this to do?
Constant effect of basically radiating our domain into the object in the bowl itself.
Okay. I need more clarification here.
If I put something in this bowl, it'll basically be baptized by both of our domains combined.
Alright, and I forgive me, are what do you need to?
Well, we figure it has to be some sort of like glyph or sigil or circle or I don't know, other words for the same thing. Which you seem to be the best at.
Okay. What kind of knowledge roll do I need to make for the
Let's see. You would need, well, you'll need Aaron's help because you'll need some knowledge religion, but you'll also need a knowledge arcane check.
Alright. Make the knowledge arcane real quick.
Okay.
Alright. Knowledge arcane. 27.
Identical results. Damn. That's impressive. Okay, yes, you've definitely, yes, you have cracked how to create a vampiric bowl of vampiric baptism to enchant objects within with the power. You've also probably figured out the appropriate ritual, which will need to be done between Kragel and Aaron.
Emma will explain what she's discovered.
It's between you and Aaron who have sort of just.
Yeah.
Wait, what's up?
You two have between the two of you, you've cracked how to create the bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sort of needs to combine the effect of vampiric touch with a balance of positive and negative energy.
Oh.
And with something, preferably with blood worked into the runes, which would be Kragel's aspect of it.
Okay. Okay.
I pull out a vial of blood. I'm like, don't worry, I always got one of these on me.
Why do you have a vial of blood?
I just shake my head and say, he's been asking everybody for blood. Why wouldn't he have blood?
Blood subdomain.
It's like, it's all good.
I'm like, I've been using these for crafting, actually.
You have. You have.
Yes, blood steel.
Emma just kind of sighs and just goes, okay, well, you have everything you need.
Yes,
Let's make 2 bowls.
Oh, by the way, Emma will explain what she did with the shield. How they now have that awesome new wave shield. That should give some protection if Prakash decides to do his fire from above thing.
Nice.
I have no idea how much protection, and at some point I'm going to want to try and put a regular shield spell and a shocking shield spell in there as well. But at some point we should have a permanent, very powerful shield over us at all times.
I was going to say, if you wanted, just to say, if you were looking into that, you could also potentially, I was going to say Aaron might be able to help with that, because combining shield with shield of faith could be quite the potent combination for that sort of thing.
Yeah. And if you ever get a chance to help me with that, Aaron, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Don't see why not.
But again, we should probably wait on that. Just, I am utterly exhausted.
Yeah. Go get some sleep.
Unfortunately, I also have a bunch of other things to attend to, but thank you very much for carrying. then before leaving, she'll kind of remember herself, wait, and go, by the way, at the end of the week, I have something to show you.
Copy that.
Yeah, I already have been arranging with getting it done, and it should be very nice when it is, but it's just, let's just say it's a present for everyone from me.
It's a hoverboard. I knew it.
Now, see, are we talking about Back to the Future hoverboard, or are we talking about modern day hoverboard?
Those things are.
I'm always making it to be a Back to the Future hoverboard, man.
I
Those
mean,
things don't deserve to be called hoverboards.
let's be honest now. I wouldn't be disappointed with either one.
If she made the other one, they'd be great offensive weapons because they explode.
Yeah, heck yeah. Catch on fire, man. It's perfect.
Man,
Wait,
we just
the
need, like,
miniature-
Galaxy Notes, whatever those floating phones were.
Galaxy
Like,
Note 7.
Yeah.
Harris does have something he wants to do.
Okay.
Okay. Well, did Nix need anything?
Yeah, there was probably one or two things I wanted to do.
Go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Now it's your turn.
First thing would be, she's gonna basically go out and with a couple of other hunters and rangers and basically start working on locating and gathering livestock or some form of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably deer and wild boar for the most part.
Yeah.
Dude,
At
wild
least
boars
I
can
think-
turn into pigs.
Yeah, basically she's gonna try and, they're gonna try and not necessarily capture them, but kind of herd them back towards into that valley that's for the most part cut off.
Okay. There are two ways you can do that. You can either give me a survival check to try and herd them that way, or you can try a handle animal check to try and if you want to do the handle animal, you can either do it as normal or try and tap into your domain with it.
Mind you, the animals tend to be more docile towards us because of the enchantments we put on.
Oh, because of the water, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could play in your favor.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she's not gonna do anything. They're not gonna do anything to hurt the animals or anything. They're just gonna try and what's the word? How do I explain this?
You're going to be trying to herd them?
Position themselves in a way that as they're just walking towards them, it kind of makes them move in a specific direction that they want them to go, kind of like a sheepdog.
Yeah, so
basically.
you'd be herding them.
Just herding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's no problem. So as I say, you can either do it with... So, yeah, herding would be... As I say, you can either do it with survival or handle animal.
She'll try doing it with handle animal with her, under her domain, whatever.
Okay, so you're going to try and...
tapping into the animal domain, yeah.
Okay, give me a handle animal check then.
Oh god. That is so poor.
The dice do not like you tonight, do they, Nix?
No, they don't.
Well, with the benefit of the enchanted water, you'd still be able to get... You're not as able to get as many as you'd have liked, but you're still able to get some. Rather than being herded, they are simply following you.
Okay.
Completely placid, sort of a... Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's the classic carrot on a stick. Just follow me.
More
Yeah.
Pied Piper, only without the music.
Yeah. it's a start at least, and that's fine. Just to that they can
That's good.
populate themselves.
Yeah, you probably have maybe a dozen deer and half a dozen boar.
And then she'll also have sent out her. What were they? No, hang on, I gotta find them. No, well, yeah, she'll probably have sent out. How many groups did Erisk send out?
I probably sent maybe like half of my people.
Okay, so that's a lot. So she probably would have had the Skystalkers kind of go with them, but watch things from above, basically, to watch for things a lot farther out that the ground people can't see.
By all means.
And
Okay.
yeah, but they'll also kind of keep in touch just to with your groups, just so that they can make sure everything's good or whatever. And then another thing, she would have sent out some of all of her plant masters to help with finding herbs and like medicinal herbs and stuff, or poisonous herbs.
That's not a problem.
Plants, whatever.
That'd be a survival check if you just want to make that on your own character for now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a few different supplies. And more importantly, you've got seeds, so you've got a chance to grow some of your own herbs. And I would suggest keeping the poisonous ones away from the medicinal ones.
Oh yeah, she's definitely basically what she's doing is she's gonna set us create 2 small plots, and one side is gonna be, or one plot's gonna be the medicinal stuff, and the other one's gonna be for the poisonous stuff, and she's gonna just let Erisk and Aaron know which one's which.
So we now officially.
They can.
Sorry.
Sorry. So that they can get whatever herbs they need as they grow to maturity.
Yeah, thank you. I've got something like to kill people and an easy way to get rid of the bot.
Yeah. And let me make sure that's all I want to do.
I'm just gonna start to take force for a couple days, cut out the bodies, feed them, and feed.
And then she'll probably will also work on training a few more deep walkers, or whatever they're called.
Deep Walkers was the name of the archetype, yeah.
Yeah, deep walkers, so that they can get more of the cave system mapped out and make sure it's safe and everything for people to go in and possibly start mining for materials.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Nix.
Yeah.
What farm animals do we have?
The only ones I got are the ones that, like the deer, the wild boars. Probably a couple of there are probably rabbits in there already as well, and like mice and stuff, but no actual farm animals.
I was gonna say the only thing you might have is you might have a couple of you might have a few chickens, because they're easy. They would have been easy to keep and provided fresh eggs, but yeah. And of course you have your cavalry goats, which can provide milk.
Yeah.
If it's alright with you, I want to take a few eggs.
Why does this worry me?
I'm just glad he's not taking the chickens themselves.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just taking,
no one.
I'll just be taking like a dozen, or not a dozen, like half a dozen fertilized eggs.
Okay.
How is it that you can make the most mundane things sound so worrisome?
I think we might need to swap the class out for Lich.
Talent. It is pure, unadulterated, maddening talent.
What do I need to roll for the deep walkers?
It'd be a survival check we'll go with.
Please tell me you're gonna put the eggs in the vampiric bowl. I hope so.
Oh,
Oh
my God.
dear, vampire chickens.
That's actually my plan.
Hell yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, we're one step away from blooming
we're
the
making
quack.
a completely separate, completely secure cage for the vampire chickens.
And we're one
I'm gonna
step...
bring
And
him
I've
out.
got
I'm gonna bring him out and be like, "Hey guys, I made vampire chickens."
yeah.
we are officially one
Nick's
step
gonna
away
make
from...
you-
Oh, great.
No, she's just gonna be like, she'll just stare at Croggle and just be like, they are not getting anywhere near the other chickens. Keep them away, or you are dead.
I'm gonna have the engineers create a moat of holy water around them.
I'm not
Thank
sure.
you.
Just to say, I'm not sure what I'm gonna. I think I might have to come back to what's gonna happen with the eggs in it put into the bowl of vampirification. Because
Yeah.
I'm getting images
Don't try
of.
till you knock it, guys.
Hey, I'm just trying to make more war forces for us. Think of unleashing a pack of wild vampire chickens on our enemies.
Unless they're the size of chocobos, I think they're not gonna do a whole lot.
That's what a large animal's for.
I mean, a shuriken doesn't do a lot, but if you throw enough of them, I mean,
Oh God, Chris, he's gonna create chocobo. Not chocobos. Chocos. I can't remember the thing from Legend of Zelda.
Oh, the cuckoos? The psychotic
Yes,
cuckoos?
that.
That kill people when you hit them?
Yep.
That, again, causes everyone to want to hit them to see if they can escape the
Oh,
You know what though?
this is nearly.
Eventually, I'm gonna train one rabbit with this and leave him outside of a cave.
Oh my
No,
God.
you are not creating the bloody Monty Python rabbit.
I'm so happy! I'm so proud, so happy.
Oh.
And I thought I was
No
getting
objections
started
from me,
with my
but-
swarm tip with my snatch trip.
Oh
Oh.
my God.
Alright, let's get back to this, because
As the
Again,
dawn
I-
begins to invade
oh,
the
God.
world.
oh dear. Okay. Let's get back to actual things.
Yes, I got something else I want to do.
Yeah, how many deep walkers did I train? I'm assuming only one.
I'd say
Or none.
Yeah, I'd say you probably got one out of that one.
Okay.
You can spend some longer time. If you want to put some dedicated time towards it, then we can have you say you take.
Yeah, that was pretty much the plan. Is she'll do some dedicated time to.
In which case,
train a few more
if you want, you can just
walkers.
take 10 for it, and we'll have you train up another sort of half dozen.
Yeah, taking 10. That's 19 total. So.
Yeah, so say slightly more than half dozen. Say you get another 8 of the guys.
Okay, and she would have gone up to. She would have gotten with Arn first about mixing their her community with Arn's healing domain to see what that might do.
Okay. Well, if you could give me a knowledge local check, so it would be the closest thing to community.
Okay.
Let's hope the dice are a bit kinder this time.
what do you need from me?
Wait. Oh God, my local. Oh, not bad.
Just be religion from you, Aaron, if you want to join.
Alright. One sec. Gotta pull it up. Bloop.
Okay, you think the easiest combination between community... Well, you can think of a couple of different applications for community and healing. The easiest and the widest affecting would be a ritual you could work on that would effectively double healing rates within the walls of the city.
Oh, I just had a bad idea.
Okay.
The slightly more
What about other?
I was going to say the slightly more taxing of the two would be to create something that would be a more localized effect. Potentially, although you could potentially bind it to an item to create a portable version. It's sort of like a hearth fire that would effectively grant fast healing to those within the area of its warmth.
Okay, hang on. You said localized effect to where we would create a portable effect.
Yeah, you could effectively create either a room or a portable effect. It would change depending on whether you used a room or an item. Would change the amount of fast healing granted. But you could effectively create an area that would grant those under its effect fast healing.
Question: is there a way that we could also try to do something with the herbs that she gathered and try to make them more potent by doing that?
Yes, between the healing and community domain, if you were to make it into sort of a community garden and then perform a joined blessing, you could potentially bolster or even grant magical effects to the various herbs under it.
You down, Nix?
Yeah, that's fine.
Heck yeah.
Grant healing effects to herb garden. Okay. And then community. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I was thinking too with like those herbs is like depending on what properties they could give us, we could gain like stronger like heal potions and stuff, so you guys aren't so reliant on me either.
Yeah.
We'll become a little bit more self-sufficient.
Yeah, and then she would have gone. Let's see, and then she probably would have talked with Arisk about. I actually had a thought about a animal and possibly darkness domain, if that would work.
Possibly. I was thinking about at least trying something like Darkness Domain and some creatures.
Depends on what sort of effect you were looking to generate.
I don't know. I just thought that might give us some interesting effects. I just can't think of anything. Like maybe for some animals that have an easy that can maybe let me think how to put this.
Trying to go night vision or something? Or dark vision, I mean? I don't know why I said night.
Possibly that, or giving them a better stealth bonus, like giving them higher stealth bonuses or something like that, for like if we wanted to direct them to help with doing a surprise attack. You know?
You could potentially do. Technically, something like that could potentially grant both of those effects depending on how long and how much power you were willing to put into the ritual.
I'd be up for that. Maybe take it longer, but I was thinking perhaps maybe see if we make these creatures sort of like spies or watchers.
Yeah, that's fine.
You'd also have to. I mean, it would effectively you'd have to find preferably a mated pair or something like that, or several mated
Oh,
pairs.
that's fine. She can go out and find a couple packs of wolf packs and basically
Well, wolves I believe already have dark vision, but you could definitely give them the stealth bonus and potentially something
Oh yeah,
else.
no, that's fine. I mean, couple of wolf packs and maybe a mated pair of I don't know.
Goats.
No,
Mountain
not
lions,
goats.
hawks.
Mountain lions, yeah. Foxes.
Hummingbirds.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm
I
still.
can give Quoth his own little.
Oh no,
bird
actually I
army.
was wrong.
Raven army.
Wolves only have low light vision. So
The idea of quote leading an army of brave Larius, and I wanted to.
Okay, then we'll do that.
I'll give you a hand next. I was actually going to want to borrow a couple of your deep blockers anyway.
No, that's fine. Yeah, if you need to go down there, that she's basically made a rule that no one goes in the caves without at least one deep walker, because they have no idea. Because even though they've been mining for however long, there are some areas that the deeper they get, if they continue mining, we don't know what's down there, and we don't want to run into something that we don't know how to handle. So it's better to.
you shall not repeat the mistakes of Moria.
Exactly.
At least unless we can ban the Balrog itself.
Yeah.
What if we're not getting to an unknown place?
And then with Emma, let's see, how would that work actually? Actually, probably don't even need Arisk's Darkness Domain for me to do a Raven army with Emma for Quoth, because what we could do is do Animal and Magic, Raven army that can cast spells, possibly.
Well, they might not be able to full on cast spells, but you might be able to recreate witch ravens.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
So,
Army of ravens. Army of magic ravens.
I thought you'd be happy about that.
Yeah, and as soon as you say that, Emma's just like, oh, we're so doing this. And Quoth is just perching, and Quoth is just bobbing his head up and down like, yes.
You would have to, just to say, when you do it, you will have to work on what sort of spells you want to grant them.
Yeah.
I'll let Emma do that, but yeah.
Emma's just gonna think long and hard, probably go with at least she'll definitely want to do the burning hands, just because given how wonderful that has been for us, it's supposed to be to fly over, set things on fire, and like.
Oh, I see many forest fires in our future.
well, at least many grain silos in places where we need to get in and make a distraction.
No, I'm meaning after you guys leave and these things breed true and you've now got ravens flying around with
Yes, that'll be hilarious. The fire raven. Either that or chill touch, because chill touch actually does.
For the long term, I'd say probably chill touch.
Yeah, we'll do chill touch.
I was gonna say, just in case of the
Alright,
the rather terrifying implications.
Well, chill touch has implications too, just because it does more damage than burning hand.
Yes, but it doesn't have the. Yes, but it doesn't risk them causing forest fires every time they go hunting gerbils.
Yeah. Can she give any other spell, or is it only one?
We'll probably save the full-on ritual of creating the magic ravens for next week, just so I can discuss it and have a look over it.
That is fine. Alright.
so what do you want me to roll for the animal darkness, is it still nature?
Yeah, knowledge nature.
Okay.
I'll give her a hand with that.
And then I
Yeah,
have,
Alice as well. 'Cause
let's see.
Yeah, seriously.
yeah, Emma's
Oh.
knowledge, nature.
Well, you should be able to. You'll also see. You've got a decent grasp on a ritual. You'll need to actually perform that, but you'd need to lure in the wolves first.
That's fine. She can do that. She'll spend the next couple of days doing that. But what would the effects of the ritual basically be? Like just giving the animals dark vision and stealth bonuses.
Dark vision,
And-
stealth. There might be, depending on how well you succeed, there might be other side effects depending on how strongly they come in power. Depending on how powerful how strongly the ritual takes hold.
Okay, well, she would want to, basically, hang on, where is it? Hang on. She'd want to basically enhance the animals that she brings in for this ritual,
Okay.
so they're not just basic, so they have a little bit better,
Right.
stats and stuff.
Okay, so yeah, so potentially trying to enhance them further with like the advanced template or something like that.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be... that's... Okay, well that... Okay, so I'll need you to give... So do you want to take... So, what was I going to say? If you want, you can get a... You'll get a bonus this, but if you could roll me another handle animal check, please.
Okay.
Okay, you get in luck, so you are able to call in a couple of packs of wolves.
Okay.
However, there's a slight difference to what you were expecting. Rather than the normal smaller wolf that you're used to, you've got 2 packs of
Oh, they're
timber.
dyers.
No, you've not got dyers. No, you're not quite that lucky. You've got timber
Oh.
wolves.
Nice. Timbers are always the best.
Yeah, well, they've actually got specific stats in Pathfinder. They're
Oh.
they're CR2 rather than CR1 like a normal wolf.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they got introduced in Snows of Summer.
Huh.
What about a two-headed winter ward?
No, she would have needed to nat 20 the roll for me to consider giving you anything that potent. Whoa, that's okay. Yeah, basically, okay. Here's the thing: Timberwolves are basically naturally occurring advanced wolves. I did not.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so I don't even need to enhance them.
Well, you could enhance them further, or
Give them
Oh.
giant template.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now we've got.
I was going to say, because I'll put it this way: the stats of a normal wolf is 13 strength, 15 dex, 15 con. Timberwolf, 17 strength, 19 dex, and 19 con. Only different, and with a 16 whiz and a charisma of 10. I'm just thinking, yeah, Timberwolf. I've seen characters with worse stats. Yeah, and of course they get their yeah, they're quite the beauties. I mean, they're still the same size category as normal wolves, but yeah, they're I'd say they're quite impressive. Got a base AC of 18.
Nice. Okay, so once that's done,
Just to say, for exact numbers, by the way, you've got 24 of them. You've got 24 of them, 2 packs of 12.
that works.
Just start spiking the feed and get them breeding.
Well, you'll have to gather them up and
What do
perform
you
them.
genetically alter these guys?
Pretty much.
Well, it's more magically alter them, but yeah. She's going to effectively. She's going to be effectively creating this world's equivalent to the Eberron Mage Bread template from 3.5.
There was, I just remember seeing this one post on your player said what? They basically select the breeding, started selecting breeding hydras. They went through the final boss battle about a dozen 100-headed hydras.
How did they have enough time?
So, I have no clue. But I'll find a way.
No,
Ours is not the reason why. Ours is just you or die.
Okay, if I need another reason for you, Chris, when I get the chance to, I'm gonna head into the deepest part of the mine. The Duskwalkers will let me go. I'm basically gonna sit down. I'm basically gonna stare into the abyss and see if anything answers me.
Oh boy.
Sounds fun.
Okay, we'll do that first, and then we'll go on to the ritual for the wolves, for the upgrading of the wolves with animal and shadow capabilities.
Okay.
No, I thought that was gonna be. I thought that was being put off. Yeah,
No, it's just the it's the ravens getting spell-like abilities that I'm putting off till next week.
Yeah, that's the ritual that we're putting off. But I did have two other mixes that I wanted to suggest, which was community and sorry, hang on one sec. Community and protection with Kroggle, and community and luck with Verboten.
Then go ahead and finish that first.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
So
tell me what you
long,
want.
so long as you let me mix war and community together.
Yeah, we can do those.
Okay.
Sweet.
I will say, if okay, if Verboten, Kroggle, and Nyx, if you could each give me a roll. Knowledge local for Nyx, knowledge dungeoneering for Kroggle, and we'll go with a perform check for Verboten.
Alright.
Oh my
Reroll that
god.
next. Did you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, between the three of you, you realise that you could technically perform a ritual combining all those domains to get a cumulative effect.
Wait, so community protection and luck, or...
Community protection, luck, and war.
Oh wow. Okay.
The effect would essentially be that you would create a protective barrier, an aura of protection for the city, but within the city, fortune would favour those within, so all tasks would receive an inherent luck bonus.
So what you're saying is, if we really wanted to gamble someone out of all the things that they own, we need to put like a casino at the edge.
No, not what I meant. Basically, your training will advance faster. You will receive a bonus to all crafting rolls.
Oh shit, yeah, let's do that.
And
I do need to...
basic,
Nah,
yeah. So
Alright, so create an aura of protection around the city, and bonus to all crafting rolls within city walls.
and basically all training will progress quicker because people will be. There will also be another component that won't really come up unless the city is under attack, in which case all defenders would receive a luck bonus to their AC and to their attack and damage rolls.
Gain bonus to AC, damage, and attack rolls when under attack. Okay.
We are making this a lot more frustrating for
If you want to, if you want with this one because it because of the amount of power it will take, I will allow you to take 10 on this and then apply your bonuses from having your acolytes involved.
Okay.
Roggle, Verbatim, you okay with that, or...?
Unfortunately, if I take 10, I just have a total of 13.
I can't hear over the breathing.
Yeah, who's breathing really hard?
Roggle, you okay?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, I was fine with the take 10 on everything. It was just that the breathing was kind of like...
Yeah, I wasn't sure whose it was,
Holy
but
crap.
just to say, you will get a bonus, Nix, from having your rangers involved in the ritual. So you will
What
get
was
it up.
it?
Nix, you would get a bonus from having your rangers
Okay.
involved, so it would get it up to a decent level, so you would be able to get the effect.
Okay.
So you gather together and you effect, and by the time you are, there are lights of green, of emerald green, ruby red and gold that begin to coalesce and merge and begin to spread out from your ritual site in almost a grid-like pattern all throughout the building. As the grid completes, there is a transformation brought about the stones of the building. Rather than any of your individual colours, you effectively transformed all of the stone into something that resembles white marble, but with flecks of red, gold and green instead of the normal mineral deposits.
Interesting. Well,
Oh,
at least
it gets
we brightened
even-
up the place.
Oh, it gets even better. If you head outside, yeah, you've now got a mountain of marble. Or what looks like a mountain of marble. Which is odd because it's the only one amongst the mountain range that looks like that.
That's not obvious at all.
I am now really happy Emma was able to pull out that protection circle. That was able to get that protection circle.
Right? Now we're just gonna have people coming from everywhere, like, what the heck's going on?
What, like when you made the river... What? Well, you've also got... I was going to say, what, like when you made the river glow wasn't going to have caught enough attention?
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, this mountain range is known to be the source of the river that that started glowing one night.
Okay, like, we are just like an infection upon this place at this point. Because, like, we've contaminated the river, we've contaminated the mountain, we've contaminated the ground. Like, what's next?
So we're human.
The sky.
Yeah, Sky's next.
Maybe make it, like, green or something.
Actually,
Well-
wait, I think Emma's already contaminated Sky, because then you're gonna have that big shield.
Oh,
cover
no.
everybody.
What contaminated the sky is going to be the massive amount of magic crows, like, flying off.
Excuse me, Mr. Vampiric Chickens?
They can't fly!
Chickens can fly, man.
Not particularly far, but they can fly.
Yeah.
And you give them
It's more
predatory
like
and if you
Glide.
give them predatory instincts, I'm fairly sure over a few generations they'll learn.
Oh. Okay, so, alright. Are we...
Emma probably looks around, she's like, what the hell's going on?
Emma's just like, oh, crying out loud, you guys could have told me about this so I could take notes.
So, I think, partially because I'm getting quite close to falling asleep at my computer, I'm going to sort of say we'll finish off about past.
Alright.
Sorry.
But, can, before we leave, can Emma show everyone what she had her people
Yes,
work
I was
on?
going to say, I was more than happy to have you do that, but I was also going to have us do the ritual on the wolves first and then go on to your bit.
Yeah.
If that's alright?
Okay.
Okay.
Wolves first.
And Arisk.
Yeah, so we'll need a stealth roll from
Yeah,
Arisk and a
yeah.
knowledge nature or handle animal, whichever is better from Nyx.
Yeah. Emma's gonna be watching this one.
Arisk?
You cut out of it. Wasn't sure.
I need you to do a stealth check, sorry. And then we'll, yes. Okay.
Oh, we are gonna have phase wolves.
You're not entirely wrong.
Every wolf suddenly has a level in Shadow Dance.
No, but, okay, here's what you have. You have what was before a group of normal greyish timber wolves are now the size of
Pitch
horses, pitch black with emerald green eyes. They also have, along with a bonus to stealth checks on top of their existing abilities, they now have a permanent 20% mischance.
Good boys.
We have Warmer. We have dire. We can have dire wolf riders, guys.
I have my cavalry now.
Oh, Shadow Wolf Cavalry.
Oh yeah.
Just every night, as soon as people start getting into our territory to attack us, it's just every night thousands, hundreds of these green eyes staring at.
Oh yeah.
They've only got 24 so far, but I'm guessing the breeding program is going to be starting soon. And
Yep.
oh, the future isn't.
We'll keep half out in the forest for their own.
Oh, great! They're going to breed
Like,
on their
true.
own. Yeah, and then
Our
the other.
animal husbandry person.
That would probably be me, honestly.
Yeah. I was going to say that's the other thing. Congratulations, guys! You now have 2 wolf packs that are completely loyal to you guys.
Oh, this is. I just realized something. Oh. Oh, go ahead, finish.
Arisk is definitely taking one to keep in Healthguard's room.
Yeah, Nyx being in charge of the husbandry and everything, she'll probably be watching for specific, what do you call them? Specific characteristics and stuff
Trait.
for like, yeah, traits to see which one, like, to determine which one would be best for, like, if it would be best for being one of Arisk's mounts or better suited for being out in the forest as their silent stealth
Yeah.
unit, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't think of the word.
Well, guerrilla force, ambush predators.
Yeah, that. So,
Oh god, these things just I was gonna
but she'll allow, every time in the future, or as time progresses, every time a new batch of pups comes along, she'll have Eris come out as well after she's had her first look, and let him go over the ones that she's pointed out, and he can decide where they go from there.
Yeah.
Or who gets which ones, because this is how I imagine it working, is that each new person that becomes a rider to one of these wolves, they actually have to raise it from a pup so that they create that seriously deep bond of rider and mount.
Potentially.
That's how I envision it.
I will also say there is another aspect that there is potential. It's not guaranteed, but there is potential for at least this first batch. Which is
Which is
if you grow in power, they might become more than they already are. They might advance with you to a point. You could be looking at a good equivalent to wargs, as in.
Yes.
BRB bio.
Which one's the? Can I have the run to the litter?
Why? She's gonna be very picky about who gets wolves, especially with Kroggle.
Yeah, it's the same.
Because he's.
Oh, we are not having vampire shadow wolves.
Yeah, no, that.
She won't fit in the bowl.
I know you'll find a different way. Keep the hell away from them.
No, the reason why I'm going for the run to the litter is because usually the run is quicker.
That is true. My big fluffy dog was the runt. But
And she's still not gonna let anyone touch these wolves without her permission.
Yeah,
Or
Eris
Eris.
Eris would even willing to help keep his people, let his people watch him.
We will, just to
Yeah.
say, we'll go on to Emma's thing next, and Aros, if it's alright, we'll leave your staring into the abyss and seeing what stares back for next week, if that's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just need some time to think about it, and, yeah, I'm going to be falling over asleep soon if I don't.
Suddenly, half our population turns into drow.
Could be worse. Couldn't.
All I can say, guys, is if we ever abandon this settlement and what we create here is able to go wild, I pity any random first level character who shows up.
Well, to be fair, at the very least, the wolves would be good, so it'd be less of a problem.
At this rate, I half expect we're gonna have a bench race set against us.
Yeah, but oh my goodness, we have created amazing things.
Yes, and then I have to worry about what you're going to do with the witch raven thing.
Oh yeah, and if it's not one of the shadow ones, I'll take one of the timbers.
No, you could find. Yeah, you might be able to find timber, but we'll leave that for a little bit. And so Emma, what did you want to show these good folk from?
All right. At the end of the week, when the people she's recruited have done their task, Emma's gonna gather everybody toward the catacombs that we decided that we're gonna lay our dead in. And when everyone gets in, she's gonna lead everyone to a wall. It's gonna look like a normal wall into the rock. Emma's then gonna show everyone a button. And she's gonna push the button, and the rock flips over, revealing a memorial. And everyone's symbols but Emma's is on there, and the names of those who died in the battle are there. And then Emma's going to flick another switch, which will reveal a bookcase, where Emma will go, and here's where their stories are. We're just gonna keep adding on to this.
Eris will just kneel down, just really have a moment to pay his respects to the fallen.
Sweet.
Yeah, and Emma will kind of turn to Arn and just go, sorry, I just had this idea and I went ahead with it.
No, looks good.
Yeah, honestly, if you hadn't done it, I probably would have.
Yeah, I mean, just let us know if you need help next time.
It wasn't that hard, but we should probably, in all the cities that we end up getting control over, have something similar to that.
Of course.
And there's also a copy of the book which has their life stories, both the good, the bad, so future generations can remember that these were real people, not just names or numbers.
Right. Well, that was a good session, and I think looks like it's been a bit earlier, I'm going to call it here. I think that's a good natural stopping point. We will come back to this next week, folks. Jazzy, great to see you as always. Hope you had a good time. And I hope our other viewers had a good time as well. Next week we will see where things lead us. I'm sure that, if nothing else, I'm sure Arisk's explorations of what happens when you stare into the abyss will have interesting implications.
Yep, and hopefully
He just stares in there. It's my face.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to at least start training bards and fixing up our wonderful, wonderful crazy siege mage. Make him work on his ballista Bianca.
Right, well, and for anyone who's interested in the Final Fantasy D20 discussion we've been having, Rambling Bard will be back on Thursday. Until then, take care and have a good night.
Hopefully we'll find somebody who doesn't make Chris lose his mind.
Oh, yeah, we'll tell you about that in a second. No, anyway, guys.
Good night, folks.